Montana Talks here. Live and local. This is Montana Talks with Aaron Flint.
Serving the great state of Montana. From the peaks of the Beartooths to the banks of the Clark Fork River. Montana Talks with Aaron Flint.
NBC Montana. My goodness. Who is running your Twitter account? Who is running your Facebook page? Who is your digital editor? But then again, you can't, they post some crazy stuff on their social media. But then again, it looks like this absurd article was actually written by an NBC Montana reporter. Guess what? Did you guys know this? Home insurance rates are going up pretty big time here in Montana. Home insurance rates are going up pretty big here in Montana. Now, why do you think home insurance rates are going up? Why do you think? No, not that. No, not because of property values skyrocketing. No, not because of people living in the urban wildland interface more often, more fire danger thing. No. None of those. Not because of the fact that the price of everything is going up right now because of the Joe Biden, John Tester inflation. No. Wow, you guys, I know what you're doing. You're thinking of very logical, very obvious reasons for why home insurance rates have gone up so much here in Montana. Apparently, over the past 2 years, just the past 2 years alone, home insurance rates rose nearly 20. Well, I guess this is more nationwide. I'll have to look at the internal Montana numbers, but it's like, why even read this story when the headline is so stupid here? Over the past 2 years, home insurance rates rose nearly 20% nationwide, and experts predict that trend will continue with the projected 6% additional increase on average in the coming year. Now, why would home insurance rates be going up even in other parts of the country that aren't seeing the massive increase in valuations that we're seeing here in Montana because of all the people that want to live in Montana, because of the better policies we've got in Montana compared to these other states around the country where maybe their property values aren't doing that much? Why? Guess what? NBC Montana says this is why. Climate change drives up home insurance rates in Montana. Blame climate change. There you go. See, they got to blame everything on climate change. Everything is because of climate change. Your home insurance rates are because of climate change. Nothing to do with Bidenomics. Climate change is why everything is so expensive. I shared that via X.com. I think was it on Saturday? I think it was on Saturday. And anyway, I asked the question, who is the digital editor for NBC Montana? Jen Psaki? Yeah, good night. Just insane. There's one story that I didn't share last week that I really wanted to get to. It was a story about electric vehicle trucks. Electric trucks. And when I say trucks, I'm not talking about pickups. Easy there, Jim. Jim in Great Falls will be like, it's a pickup, not a truck. Jim, I'm talking about semis. Or as our Canadian friends would say, semis. That's what I'm talking about. Apparently, the sales for these EV trucks, EV semis, EV semis, even in the Trudeau regime, awful, very awful. Wait till you hear these numbers. I should have shared this story last week, but man, you know how it goes. If you start taking phone calls, you never know what we're going to talk about on this program.
Securing America.
This is National Police Week, the week in which we honor those who provide security in every community in the country. Sunday, the Police Unity Tour ride-in and ceremony was held at the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial in Washington, D.C., which follows a bike ride across the U.S. by members of law enforcement to honor those killed in the line of duty. Following the arrival of the riders, a ceremony was held at the memorial itself. Bill Alexander is the CEO of the memorial organization.
Right now on the walls that surround us are the names of 24,067 of our peers. All of the men and the women in a long line of U.S. history who have died in the line of duty.
Wilson Rios of Union, New Jersey, adding,
with gratitude, we acknowledge the ultimate sacrifice of our fallen heroes.
Kevin Retzky, Fox News.
Here's a look at your real weather for Billings and Bozeman. For today, we'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Do pick up a chance for some scattered showers and storms into the afternoon. We'll have highs in the lower 70s for Bozeman, but approaching 80 for Billings. Then for tonight, under mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers and storms looking likely into the mid-40s for Bozeman, but lower 50s for Billings. And that's a look at your real weather on Montana Talks. I'm weatherology meteorologist Michael King.
So was Donald Trump mocking Jon Tester for looking like a pregnant woman, or was he mocking Democrats for thinking men can get pregnant? Either way, the story, MontanaTalks.com.
News Talk 970 and 103.3 FM KBUL. Your home for Fox News, Hannity, Bongino, and Montana Talks with Aaron Flint. Taking your calls live. 406-294-0970. Montana Talks with Aaron Flint.
I don't know why that story still makes me laugh. I heard a little promo for our show that we put together. Actually, it's more of a promo for our Montana Talks website and the Montana Talks app. I don't know if Trump was making fun of Jon Tester's weight or if he was mocking Democrats for thinking that men can get pregnant, but yeah, either way, the story's on our Montana Talks website. Every time I hear about that story, you just got to laugh. You just got to laugh. But it reminds me of a Babylon Bee headline. Now, this was a Babylon Bee satirical headline. The Babylon Bee, for those who don't know, is a satirical website, or to put it even more plain English, they tell jokes. They tell jokes about the news and make fake news headlines to tell jokes. But then usually their fake, funny headlines are more real than the actual news headlines out there. But this was the Babylon Bee headline for Mother's Day. Here you go. Listen close. Non-menstruating partner wishes menstruating partner a happy birthing person's day. So is that how you guys celebrated Mother's Day yesterday? Yeah, I just want to wish you a happy birthing person's day. Great headline from the Babylon Bee. Oh, they had another good one, too. Did you guys see that Jerry Seinfeld was a commencement speaker somewhere, spoke at some college graduation somewhere. I've got a story. We can get to it later this morning if we get to it. But, of course, the anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas terrorist sympathizer protest kids decided to protest Jerry Seinfeld, and the Babylon Bee has a headline here with a great photo. Organizer of walkout against Jerry Seinfeld revealed. And you know who it is. Hello, Newman. Ah, yes, a great photo of Newman there amongst the college graduates organizing the Jerry Seinfeld walkout. All right, let me get to this story about EV trucks. EV trucks. This story was actually, I pulled this story up last week and never played it for you here. Fox News Radio's Jenny Casola talked about the pushback here from electric trucks being forced on our nation's shipping industry.
Companies are pushing back at the costs of running electric vehicles. Executives in the trucking industry tell the Wall Street Journal battery electric rigs can't travel as far as diesel rigs, require several hours to recharge, and it can take years to install on-site charging facilities. And they say battery electric trucks cost about 3 times as much to purchase as a diesel rig. Daimler Truck says orders for its Freightliner E-Cascadia battery electric semi this year are about level with last year's orders, even though there's a push to switch to EVs from governments, regulators, and companies to lower truck pollution. Jenny Cosola, Fox News.
All right, now that also gets me to a soundbite. This was also a soundbite from a few days ago. Let's see, Senator Steve Daines, Montana Senator Steve Daines, he did an interview on Fox News. Let me see if I can properly attribute this here with my stack of stuff. Haven't organized yet, as you can tell. Never do here in the 6 o'clock hour. This is our time to just start BSing with you and yapping with you. And then I'll get organized during the breaks, organize the stack of stuff. Well, okay, I can't find my printout, but that's all right. He was on Fox News, and he was talking about the most expensive vehicle out there. And so I thought, man, I gotta share this one, even though it's a few days old. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. What is the most expensive vehicle out there? You guys got any guesses what the most expensive vehicle is? Not the most expensive, like I'm not talking about like a Lamborghini or some crazy new Corvette like Mark Wilson's probably driving. No, I'm just talking about what's the most expensive vehicle out there, that all of us would typically drive. Here you go.
The most expensive vehicle that the American people drive right now is their shopping cart. They know the prices are up over 20% from where they were when President Biden first took office.
Well, the most expensive vehicle is a shopping cart. You think about it right now with the Joe Biden, John Tester inflation. I mean, think about it. He's actually right. He's actually right. I mean, how much are you spending on monthly car payment if you've got a car payment, or if you don't have a car payment, if you got it paid off, good for you. How much are you paying in maintenance or things like that? And then how much are you spending on groceries, food, beverages, things like that combined? And how much are you spending on that, not just every month, but every year, continuously, right? Eventually you can get your vehicle paid off, and then, hey, all right. But man, when Joe Biden and John Tester's inflation constantly increases the price for your groceries and everything like that, you keep paying for it. You keep paying. There's no way to stop. It's always going to be there. Maria Bartiromo actually talked about this inflation that we are seeing from Joe Biden and John Tester. Let me play a little sample for you.
Bread. When Joe Biden walked into the White House in January of 2021, bread, $1.55. Percent change today, March of 2024, $2. That's up 29%. You could do spaghetti. Spaghetti cost per pound, $1.31 when Joe Biden walked into the White House. Now it's $1.42. That's up 8.5%. Let me give you one more, and I'll say let's do chicken, fresh, whole. Cost per pound was $1.60 in January 2021. It's now $2 in March of 2024. That means it's up 25%. Steak is up 28.5%. Why? So let's do the why. The why is the dictionary definition of inflation is very simple. Too many dollars chasing too few goods.
All right, so then she goes into detail the massive spending that's taken place under Joe Biden and John Tester just in the last 3 years or so alone. Of course, the ARPA bill, which passed on a party line Democrat vote, that was the real spike in inflation that really sent things skyrocketing.
Good morning, everybody. It's time for your Daybreak Egg Report. I'm Russell Nemitz, and thanks for being with us here on the Western Egg Network. Well, on the heels of Florida becoming the first state to ban the sale or production of lab-grown meat, other states are following suit. In fact, Alabama, Arizona, and Tennessee have all passed similar laws, and interest continues to grow in other states. Wyoming Senate President and rancher Ogden Driscoll told me that Florida has actually provided the perfect roadmap for other states to follow.
Wyoming tried a few years ago to do this, and we didn't get it right. And Florida really has done the legwork to get through the boxes checked and the hoops done, and leaves us really in nice shape to tee it up for our session coming up in Wyoming and other western states.
He says a ban on lab-grown meat would also help ranchers like him not have to conform to any new ranching practices.
So in the case of lab-grown meat, it really behooves us to get out and be proactive to keep the best product there is possible on the shelves out there. It's really hard to beat our natural product. It's environmentally friendly. We use a lot of country that can't be used for anything other than raising beef. It's cheaper, and it's much higher quality and much more environmentally friendly than the lab-grown meats are.
And he says the timing is perfect to introduce a bill in Wyoming's legislature that would ban lab-grown meat in the cowboy state.
The time is absolutely perfect. We go in session in January. Gives us time to get a bill put together, and I would expect we'll see a bill coming out this year, either mine or someone else's, that's going to deal with us in the state of Wyoming. Hopefully we help pave a roadmap for a bunch of the other states to do the same thing.
Now, Florida Senate Bill 1084, which was passed and signed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, enacts a wide-ranging ban on cell-cultured meat, making it basically illegal for any person to manufacture for sale, sell whole, or offer for sale or even distribute lab-grown meat. Stay with us. We'll have more ag news right after this.
Have you ever told your agricultural lender about a cheaper interest rate somewhere else and they've met or lowered your rate? Ever wonder why you weren't getting the best rate to begin with? At Montana Livestock, we're not trying to get every dime out of our customer's pocket. As a shareholder-owned company, we prefer modest earnings and happy customers. Work with a lender who strives to see their customers prosper along with the company. Give Montana Livestock a call today at 1-800-332-3405 or check us out on our website, ag-credit.com, and see if we're the change you deserve.
1874, barbed wire was patented and ranching was forever changed. Now, 150 years later, ranchers continue to tackle tough challenges with new innovations, like RangeView from Enview. By providing a data-driven view of the land, RangeView helps you get the most out of your grazing management, rangeland health, and herbicide treatment decisions. See how the latest innovation in ranching can help you at tryrangeview.com. RangeView is a trademark owned by Environmental Science US LLC or one of its affiliates. Not all products are registered in all states.
Well, according to the latest round of USDA crop reports, U.S. farmers this year are expected to produce over 1.2 billion bushels of winter wheat. In the first winter wheat production forecast of the year, production is expected to increase by 2% over last year. Of that, hard red winter wheat production is forecasted to be up 17%, and soft red winter wheat production down 23%, with white winter wheat up 16% over 2023. For the Western Ag Network, I'm Russell Nemitz.
This is where Montana talks. Montana Talks with Aaron Flint.
All right, I've got about another 60 seconds or so of Maria Bartiromo here. I played part of her audio before we went into the break there with the Farm and Ranch Report, where she was talking about the price of beef, price of chicken, price of bread, you name it. But as I listen to what Bartiromo has to say here, the number, maybe I'll ask Grover Norquist about this when Grover joins us later this week. Or is that later today? I know it's on the calendar at some point. I can't remember if that's later today, maybe later tomorrow, who knows. But anyway, Travis knows. And I'll know if I pull up my calendar here. But anyway, I'd be really interested in seeing how much spending took place in the first 2 years of the Biden administration when he had control, when the Democrats had control of the House of Representatives, compared to the spending that's occurred since Republicans took back control of the House of Representatives. Because there's Republicans who love spending more time complaining about their fellow Republicans than they do taking the fight to the Democrats. And they want you to think, there's no difference when the Republicans take over. They're basically like shadow campaigning on behalf of Biden and Tester when they say this stuff too, right? There's no difference when the Republicans take over. I'd really like to see what the number difference actually is. But anyway, Bartiromo highlighted really the party line spending of Biden and Tester.
Okay, what do we have? Way too many dollars under the Biden administration. He passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which did not reduce inflation. The Fiscal Responsibility Act, which was not fiscally responsible. Forgiveness of student debt. The CHIPS Act. The Green Energy Tax Credits. All of that is too many dollars chasing too few goods. When you have too many dollars coming in, it pushes the prices of everything up. And that's what we're getting. So next week is a really important week. We're going to be covering it on Mornings with Maria over on Fox Business. We're getting the Consumer Price Index for the month of April. So far, we've had 3 hot months of inflation. January, February, March were all above expectations. Everyone's focused on April. What are we going to see for the CPI in April? That's going to be really important. That comes out Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday, and we are expecting it to be a market mover. So that's the story, Rach. I mean, you've got inflation hotter than ever. People are spending the highest amount of money that they have for essentials. I'm talking about food, fuel, and shelter.
Yeah, exactly. And they're paying higher prices in Indian country, right? More on that in just a second here. Let me tell you what, if you're somebody who's been struggling with paying your grocery bills, I would encourage you to check out Billings Last Diet, because not only do they help you lose the weight, but they help you keep the weight off. It really is a lifestyle change. But once you change that lifestyle, I'll tell you what, you're going to spend less. You're going to spend less on groceries. You're going to spend less on beverages. You're not going to be tempted to just pull over and, spend $15 on something fast and quick because you're starving and you don't know how to manage that hunger. I'm telling you what, it's such a life-changing program. BillingsLastDiet.com or call 294-6751. Boy, you can see it. The weather has been incredible. You want to slim down for the summer? This is the crew, the coaches that'll help you do it. Worked for me. It's worked for so many of our listeners. BillingsLastDiet.com. They got a remote option now available statewide.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. Former attorney Michael Cohen is expected to testify today at former President Trump's trial in New York about paying Stormy Daniels to not tell her story.
He's expected to tell the jury that Trump told him to pay off Stormy to protect his 2016 presidential campaign. And then the former president reimbursed him. Trump's defense is expected to point out the disbarred lawyer lied to Congress, served federal prison time for tax evasion, bank fraud, campaign violations, and cannot be believed in anything he says.
Fox's Eric Shawn. Israeli troops push deeper into Rafah in southern Gaza as more fighting flares up in northern Gaza.
The Israeli military is back operating in parts of Gaza where it previously said Hamas had been dealt with. This, along with the deaths of 4 soldiers in a Gaza City alleyway, are signs the Islamist group is still able to renew its threat.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
Our chat message must not be working here. I just messaged Travis, who is on the phone line, and I don't know if he's not logged in on our messaging or if maybe mine is not logged in or whatever. But so I just checked in. Nancy in Roundup, great to hear from you. What's going on this morning?
Well, good morning, Montana Talks, Sam. It's a lovely day today. I just want to mention, and I hope that the majority of you got to watch the live coverage of the Donald J. Trump rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. Between New Yorkers and New Jerseyans, there was approximately 100,000 in the crowd. And I'm telling you, I got intoxicated just by watching the patriotism and the freedom and the hope of all these Americans that were there rallying to Donald Trump. And he was in magnificent physical shape. He didn't appear tired or frustrated or fatigued from everything he's been going through. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful live coverage of a magnificent event, and it was memorable. It has just given me a whole lot of new hope for our country. And I just want to quickly mention Rudy Giuliani. He used to be the mayor of New York City. And I just want to talk a little bit about our First Amendment rights. He was on WABC radio regularly in New York City. He had a Sunday program. And he started to talk about the electronic voting machines, and the kill button was hit, and FCC took him off the air. He no longer has a program, so that tells you about our First Amendment rights. We don't really have 100% freedom of speech in our country. So that was a shocker, and other than that, I hope everyone has a wonderful brand new week here, and if you can, watch that speech by Donald J. Trump at Wildwood, New Jersey.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it because we've got some highlights. I put together a little montage of sound bites from President Trump's rally. Yeah, remarkable. 100,000 plus people showed up for this deal. Jeff Van Drew, the congressman from New Jersey who left the Democrat Party, he thinks that Donald Trump, and Trump mentioned this as well, they think that Donald Trump can actually win the state of New Jersey. Emerson polling just came out and has the race between Trump and Biden within single digits in New Jersey. And they made the point that, look, if Trump wins Pennsylvania, it's game over. It's game over for Biden. But here's the deal, like that, for anybody who's ever traveled briefly in that region, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, very close. A lot of people from Pennsylvania went over to New Jersey as well. And so anyway, yeah, no, that's remarkable. I've got a lot of coverage from that Trump rally and reactions to it. We'll get into that coming up here right after this break. Let's see. Anton and Billings had a great message here. The NBC Montana reporter is only telling us part of the reason for property tax increases, property insurance increases. But it's not just climate change. It's climate change policy. That's a great point, Anton. It's not climate change that your home insurance costs more. It's climate change policy. These climate fanatics are making everything more expensive.
Taking your calls live. 406-294-0970. Montana Talks with Aaron Flint.
Yeah, over 100,000 people showed up at this Trump rally in New Jersey. And I thought it was interesting. What was the North Dakota governor doing in New Jersey? Doug Burgum, I guess there's a lot of speculation that he could be the vice presidential candidate along with President Trump. I would even speculate that he could be a cabinet member, like a Secretary of Energy. Anyway, let's jump right into this. This is from the Fox Weekend show. Some highlights. Actually, before I get to that one, let's get you the Trump montage. Let's get you the montage series of sound bites put together that Fox News Radio offered up, and then I tried to mash them all up into one little montage for you here.
This guy's so damn bad, it could be all of them. He's so bad, I think we're going to win them all. All across America, millions of people in so-called blue states are joining our movement based on love, intelligence, and the thing called common sense. We're expanding the electoral map because we are going to officially play in the state of New Jersey. We're going to win the state of New Jersey. Whether you're a Republican, conservative, independent, or even a registered Democrat, I'm asking for your help in saving America. Our country's in trouble. It's in big trouble. We've never been in trouble. We'll end up in World War III. These guys are grossly incompetent. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. You know in your heart that this country is not going to survive 4 more years of crooked Joe Biden. He's crooked and he's corrupt and he's incompetent. Other than that, he's doing quite a good job.
All right, next I'm going to go to Congressman Jeff Van Drew talking about how big this rally was and how Trump is now within single digits of Joe Biden in New Jersey. First, though, we had another message that came in on our Montana Talks app. I was laughing about this NBC Montana story. Climate change drives up home insurance rates in Montana. Yeah, it's not Bidenomics, it's climate change. Is Jen Psaki the digital editor for NBC Montana? I mean, good night. What a bunch of liberal nut jobs they've got there. I mean, you saw the way that they never ask tough questions of flip-flop, flat-top John Tester, but then they try to trash Tim Sheehy, and he deflects them at every turn. Anyway, Anton and Billings made a good point. It's not climate change. It's climate change policy. It's a great point. The climate fanatics are driving up home insurance rates. They're driving up the cost of everything with this massive Joe Biden, John Tester inflation. Tim and Savage with a Babylon Bee version of the whole story, joking around here. It's obvious that home insurance rates are going up because of climate change and Donald Trump. It's got to be Trump's fault. That's a good point, Tim. It's got to be Trump's fault at some point. It's either climate change or Donald Trump. That's the reason for everything, according to many in the fake news media. Here you go, some more highlights from that Trump rally over the weekend. I believe this was on Fox and Friends first. I think it was very early this morning.
Whether you're a Republican, conservative, independent, or even a registered Democrat, I'm asking for your help in saving America. Our country's in trouble. It's in big trouble. Instead of a Biden tax hike, I'll give you a Trump middle class, upper class, lower class, business class, big tax cut. And the Biden economic bust will quickly be replaced with a brand new Trump economic boom. We're going to have another boom like we had all across America. Millions of people in so-called blue states are joining our movement based on love, intelligence, and the thing called common sense.
New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew represents the district Trump held the rally in, and he joins us now. Congressman, good morning to you. So there is a strategic difference here where President Biden, he's getting help from Hollywood. George Clooney, Julia Roberts, they're going to be posting social media ads to try and boost his campaign. Donald Trump is going to blue states and holding big rallies like the one that you hosted for him on Saturday. Which one do you ultimately think will be more beneficial? And if you could tell us about the rally on Saturday, we would love to hear about it.
The rally was great. You know, I speak to President Trump about once a week, and he was always kidding me because the last rally that we had about 5 years ago when I became a Republican was the most ticket requests they've ever had in a rally. And he said, I want this one to be even bigger and better. It really isn't me. It's the movement. It's people wanting to save our country and love America. And what a contrast. So here you have the elite and the mega wealthy and the super cool. And there we had working Americans, whether they were doctors and dentists, whether they were plumbers and pipe fitters, whether they were senior citizens or young people, tons of young people. We had over 100,000 people come. It was organic. And it was all just because they believed in this president, President Trump, and because they believe in the United States of America and the greatness of this country. You know what? I'm going to go with the voters. I'm going to go with the real people. I'm going to go with the people that fix America, make America run, and care about America and love America, not the ultra uber wealthy, people that live in their secluded mansions away from people.
Yeah, and then later in that same segment, Congressman Van Drew, who left the Democrat Party, who is now encouraging more of his friends and neighbors in New Jersey to also leave the Democrat Party. He made the point that, that Emerson College polling, which is an independent poll, it's not some, campaign poll or some internal poll. Emerson polling has the race between Trump and Biden now single digits in New Jersey. So if it's that close in New Jersey, hopefully that means good things about states like Pennsylvania and the other nearby battleground states. This was a great line from President Trump at the rally over the weekend as well, talking about Bidenomics.
As you know, summers at the Jersey Shore have always been a fixture of life for families all across the region. But thanks to the 50% Biden inflation tax and the Biden price hikes are continuing to drain over $1,000 from the typical New Jersey family budget every single month. On day one, we will throw out Bidenomics and we will reinstate Maganomics. Maganomics.
Yeah, what a difference that would make. And we'd see that difference very quickly, wouldn't we? It was interesting listening to what Congressman Van Drew had to say about the working class folks that came out, over 100,000 at that rally in New Jersey. Saturday night was the Fusion Fights in Billings at the Metro, and love that crowd, love that audience. And in fact, I got to go inside the Octagon and address the crowd. And just like what happened in Bozeman, when I asked people, do you want the grocery prices of 4 years ago? Do you want the gas prices of the previous administration? Man, I'm going to tell you what, the crowd just erupts in applause. They know exactly what you're talking about. People get it. They know what's going on. They know that Joe Biden and John Tester are driving up inflation. And then a couple of the Eastern Montana congressional candidates were there at the Fusion Fights on Saturday night as well. And Stacey Zinn, the former head of the DEA, when she asked the crowd, who wants to see Donald J. Trump as president once again? I mean, a huge applause in the crowd. And if Joe Biden's face was even seen on a TV screen, you'd hear the boos. But then, it was interesting. Talking afterwards, I was talking with Kyle Austin, and I was saying, man, I love this Fusion Fight crowd, because this crowd, this type of a crowd, when Donald Trump shows up at a UFC fight, he gets a hero's welcome, right? This crowd is working class men and women. This is a crowd of fighters. These are construction workers, small business owners, law enforcement, veterans, and military spouses. These are people. Even some in the crowd, a little rougher. They fought drug addiction. So they're fighters. They fought the bad that happened in their life, or they fought the bad decisions that maybe they made in their life. But I just love that working class audience, and Donald Trump has solidified the Republican Party as the party of the working class. And when you go to a crowd like that, it shows. But here was the cautionary note that Kyle threw out, which is, yeah, but are all these people voters? Do enough of these people actually vote? The people that Donald Trump has won over, how many of them are actually voting? How many of them are getting out to vote? And not just when Donald Trump's on the ballot. Thankfully, we've got Donald Trump on the ballot this fall here in Montana. But what happens if we don't have him when we don't have him on the ballot 4 years later, right? So I thought that was a good point, that we got to encourage these like-minded, blue-collar, working folks to get out and vote, because we know that they support President Trump and his policies, and they need to know to support Tim Sheehy, the Navy SEAL veteran and Republican Senate candidate. By the way, the primary election, Donald Trump's already on your ballot right now. You can fill in that bubble on your Montana primary election ballot if you're voting in the Republican primary, of course. Those ballots are already out. I already got mine in the mail over the weekend. So the election has officially started. The primary election has officially started here in Montana. All right, back after this. Phone lines are open for you.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Even David Axelrod is right. You look at this Biden economy, he points out what an insane mistake it is that could result in his defeat if he keeps pushing this lie that is at odds with the reality that the American people are living, that their money is worth about $12,000 less than when Donald Trump was president. He said, I don't understand. They spent all this money pushing Bidenomics and touting Bidenomics, and it's not resonating. What part of this are you not understanding? And then rightly points out that on the issue and the handling of the economy, Americans by larger and larger numbers trust Donald Trump over Joe Biden.
The Sean Hannity Show, from coast to coast, later today.
Hey guys, breaking news. Did you hear that gold hit an all-time high? And based on market analysis, it could soar even higher. With inflation increasing, global tensions escalating, and central banks buying gold at record levels, the gold boom could skyrocket to over $7,000 an ounce. In fact, experts claim that the gold investing madness is just getting started. And that's why we partnered with the highest-rated gold company, Goldco. They have earned over 5,000 five-star reviews from tens of thousands of happy customers who have diversified their savings with gold and silver. Today, Goldco is offering you up to 8 years in free IRA fees plus 8% instant match in bonus silver with a qualified account. Call 855-815-GOLD for free IRA fees, bonus silver, and a free gold and silver info kit. What are you waiting for? Join the tens of thousands of people who have already joined the gold rush and diversified their savings with gold and silver. Call 855-815-GOLD now. That's 855-815-GOLD now. Now.
Paid for this message, Republican for Congress.
Brought to you from the Montana Hot Spring Spas, the hot tub company that your friends recommend, Studio. Talking about the issues that matter to Montana, statewide. This is Montana Talks with Aaron Flint.
All right, that's right. Yeah, Grover Norquist, Americans for Taxpayer Reform. He will be with us in the 8 o'clock hour of the show this morning, so that'll be great. He's going to talk about the differences between President Trump's tax policies compared to Joe Biden's tax policies, and that's very important because you remember the Trump tax cuts could go away in the next couple of years if Democrats retain power in Washington, D.C. So unless you want to see your taxes spike massively. And the other thing is, think about this. We've got to preserve production agriculture in Montana. We've got to preserve production agriculture, particularly our farms and ranches, right? If the Democrats get their death taxes back in effect, what effect do you think that's going to have on farm and ranch land in Montana? Families are going to be forced to sell. And who knows who's going to buy those outfits? Oftentimes it's not folks who want to continue production agriculture. I mean, that's one of the great things, frankly, about Navy SEAL veteran Tim Sheehy. Here's two guys, his buddy Greg Putnam. These two guys were Navy SEALs together. They fought for our country together. They were on the SEAL team together. And now they run a ranch together, the Little Bell Cattle Company. Now, Democrats are attacking them for it, right? Because Democrats want veterans to be victims. They don't want veterans to be successful. And I did a write-up on our Montana Talks website over the weekend about think about all these ranches here in Montana. How many of them were started by a soldier returning from war? Grandpa got back from the war. That's when the family ranch started. Hopefully that ranch is still in production today. And so think about it. Tim Sheehy and Greg Putnam returned from war, and they start a ranch after being successful in, with this aviation business and everything. And they're able to keep ranch land ranching in production agriculture. It's an incredible story. It's an incredible success story. It's an incredible veteran success story. But think about it. The same Democrat Party that loves the American Prairie Reserve, the outfit that's trying to kick ranchers off the land here in Montana, the same Democrat Party led by liberal Senator Jon Tester here in Montana that wants veterans to be victims so that they're dependent on the government instead of being successful. Boy, isn't it interesting that these pro-APR liberals are bashing two Navy SEALs for owning a ranch? Is it starting to make sense to you now? Why? I mean, think about it. Think about it. The radical left doesn't want you ranching here in Montana. They want to turn this into the playground for their wealthy liberal elites, and they want to lock up all this land with their so-called environmental protections, even though ranchers are the ones who not only protect this land in the first place, but actually improve the habitat and improve the rangeland, right? They don't want you here. So, of course, they get a twofold attack. They want veterans to be victims and not successful. And then on top of that, they support these outfits like the APR that are trying to kick the ranchers off the land. So hey, they get to bash somebody for having a working operable cattle ranch, and they get to trash a couple of Navy SEALs in the process. That is the Montana Democrat Party of today for you. That is Jon Tester. And he's been trashing veterans. Man, I mean, this guy is so shameful. You saw the lies that he spouted on CNN about Admiral Ronnie Jackson, Iraq War veteran Ronnie Jackson, pulling the same BS now, pulling the same garbage now. But anyway, check out this headline. It featured part of my conversation with Brian Massard from Reminisce Angus a while back. Montana ranching and the returning soldiers. Now, we say soldiers, but of course they were SEALs, so they're sailors. But you get the point, right? Okay, we'll get back to business here in the 7 o'clock.